Nothing Worthwhile, the recognized symbol of excellence in crappy podcasting.
We are America's #1 socially distant bi-coastal podcast featuring two annoying Jews. Today we reveal, you decide. We are Nothing Worthwhile on the West Coast in the hot and dry city of Phoenix, Arizona, where the high this week was a hellish 117 degrees. I am your host and moderator, Evan Moody. On the East Coast, it is Mr. Meatloaf himself. In the great city of Coral Springs, Florida, perhaps a hurricane a-coming. He'll give us an update. Our culture and in-house critic, Andrew Gruthius.
Hey now.
Groo, how the hell are you, my friend?
I'm, hiding inside from pandemics and from people and from hurricanes and from whatever else is out there. But you know what? Like I've always said, my life has not changed at all. I mean, I'd be hiding inside anyway.
I was just going to say, that sounds like a typical
It's a typical Saturday, yeah.
Pandemics. Well, why don't you give our listeners an update? I spoke to Mom Moody earlier. Are you guys getting a hurricane in South Florida? What's the deal?
I mean, it's supposed to... I don't know. It's beautiful out right now. The wind is picking up a little bit, but, not much. But it's absolutely gorgeous out right now. And it's supposed to rain later today, but I don't know. No, I can't trust anybody anymore. Who knows?
All right, so let me.
All I know is we're screwed no matter what we do. So
no, we're not. Come on, be positive. However, let me ask you this:
yeah,
pre-hurricane, what do you got, entertainment-wise and food-wise, to get you through in case you're we know you're locked in anyway per se for the pandemic, but hurricane-wise, what do you got lined up? DVD? What do you got streaming?
Well, I've got, as you know, I have every streaming service ever invented in the history of anything.
He really does.
Only
has
one or two of which I actually use, but I like the comfort of knowing it's there. It's like having that jar of honey in the pantry. It's like you never really use it, but it's in there, right, so and you're comfortable with that.
Give our listeners, give us like one streaming service you have, but you've barely touched it the whole time. Yet you won't get rid of it.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't really use the new Peacock one. Because it's
Is that for a fee? Do you pay money for that?
I did, of course. I paid for a year. I paid $30 for the year.
That's it?
Well, because it was actually for pre-ordering. They gave you half off. So
what was the interest in the Peacock?
The interest was actually one thing. It's an NBC platform. And the interest for me was one thing. It said, and I read many different places, it was going to have every single season of Saturday Night Live. To me, that's worth $30 for a year. Well, it's got the last 5 seasons and then a bunch of clips. So, it's, to me, so far it's money down the drain.
So how far back does Hulu go with SNL? Because
Hulu actually has more. Last time I checked, Hulu actually has more Saturday Night Live than this new Peacock thing, which
scandalous.
It is. The one I use the one I use most is Hulu because I get my live TV from Hulu.
Right.
Even though but I also have cable, which is the dumbest thing ever. Because of one channel. My cable system, I pay $20-25 extra bucks a month just to have cable because there's one channel called Antenna which has just all 80s TV shows. So you'll put it on and it'll go from Silver Spoons right into Different Strokes, into What's Happening, into Head of the Class, into My Two Dads. My typical school day afternoon.
Well, here's one thing. Actually, Hulu just added a whole bunch of classic television sitcoms.
Really?
Cheers. Yeah, you got to check it out. They added a whole. And again, I know Cheers for sure. That one caught my eye. I mean, we know they have Seinfeld, but there were a lot of 80s and 90s level sitcoms, and I wish I could give you more, but there's definitely they definitely added a whole bunch of classic, so to speak, television sitcoms on Hulu.
Yeah, and Hulu has had pretty much everything, but the stuff comes and goes. Like some stuff like Cheers has been on Hulu for a while, but it was also on Netflix, and now it's also on Peacock. You can get Cheers 3 different ways, and you know what? I get them all 3 different ways, and I pay for all 3 different ways. Damn it, because I really can't, but I do anyway.
All right, so let the listeners in. What do you got food wise for the big hurricane?
Oh man, I am.
Please tell. I want to hear Publix subs or Publix chicken tenders.
No, I don't have that because that's kind of perishable. But I do have. I did stock up on bagels this morning. I got like 5 or 6 bagels that'll last me till this afternoon. And I have a bunch of like. They don't call them TV dinners anymore, but I have like that Marie Callender stuff. I got some like chicken and broccoli stuff. I got some eggplant parmesan. I got for the mornings. I have the the company Jimmy Dean. Like I have they make like they're kind of like egg McMuffins. And you just 2 minutes in the microwave so I have some of those. I have my frosted mini wheats. My silk almond milk, dark chocolate, for those late night depressions,
Well, what happened? Do you not drink regular milk? I don't drink milk at all.
No, I do have regular milk. That's for the cereal,
okay.
And that's for other things.
Oh, excuse me.
Stocked up on eggs, and what the greatest thing is? The greatest thing is going to Publix. Like I went to Publix yesterday, and I went shopping for all this stuff, and I spent like $75 or $80, and I bring all this stuff home, put it in the fridge, and put it in the freezer, put it in the pantry, put everything away. I'm like, I'm good. And then what do? I order out for dinner. That's the best. It's the best thing ever. I am legitimately the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
I think you need to get a streaming service for milk.
They will have that. They will have that soon. They have a streaming service.
Yeah, I mean, between streaming services, food bill going out at the end of the month, do you clear like 4 cents and maybe some dust in your pocket?
You're not that far off. I got to tell you. That's why if there's God forbid, knock wood, there's no problems in the apartment right now because if I called my landlord, he wouldn't come over and fix it. Because I'm gonna be a little late with the rent. But
well, it's funny you mention that because we had another leak coming down right here. I'm in my kitchen and right on the light fixtures. All of a sudden, water was coming down and the dining room was wet. So the next day, I had a really good friend of mine. He's kind of like a handyman. He came over and he's up on the roof. He's like in his early 60s, and he says, Evan, why don't you climb up onto the roof? And I go, you realize I'm white and Jewish? And he's Filipino and Mexican. He started laughing. I go, terrifying, climbing up the ladder. Then when you get to the roof and then you got to, negotiate and balance and get your chunky ass up on the roof, But he's like, come up on the roof. Like he's been doing this for 50 years, and I'm like, you realize what you're dealing with here.
Well, so, you channel your you channel your inner Mick Foley, and you get up on the roof.
That's right. I said there was no ring, no padding on the way down.
Yeah,
but. Well, I wish you and, of course, my mom and anybody else listening to this podcast in South Florida, we hope everything goes well. I don't know. My experience living in South Florida, there were definitely 1 or 2 semi-rough ones, but most of the time they were never quite as, the local news. They would just, fixate and pound it into you for like the 3 or 4 days leading up to a hurricane. You couldn't watch anything else. It was just
they haven't been doing that. They really haven't been doing that because they do it as an aside almost because they're still focused on the disaster that is our political system. So that's what they're focusing on. All the media outlets. So it's like this hurricane is like a, but that's the joke. It's like, but that's the joke. It's like things are bad when people from Florida hear about a Category 5 hurricane and they're like, because of all the other crap that's going on. It's like you think you're gonna scare me? You basically scared us into not going out anyway. So that's pretty much how it is down here right now.
All right. Well, we hope
there was toilet paper in Publix, so that's always a good sign. That means people aren't panicking, which is a good thing.
Yes, we got butt wipes, so yes. We're ready to go.
Damn right.
All right, Groo. Before we get to today's controversial topic at hand, let us scale back to our last podcast. It was Meatloaf, Bats Out of Hell.
Yes.
We talked about Marvin Lee Aday, a.k.a. Meatloaf, his childhood, his move to L.A., his work in early theater productions, meeting longtime collaborator Jim Steinman, linking up with musician and producer Todd Rundgren, the brilliant debut, Bat Out of Hell, the strong follow-up some years later, Bat Out of Hell 2, Back Into Hell, and of course, the final Bat album in the run, Bat Out of Hell 3, The Monster Is Loose. Groo, it was a 3-hour marathon, very similar to listening to just one Meatloaf song.
Hey-o!
Groo, final thoughts on Mr. Meatloaf, Bats Out of Hell.
I enjoyed talking about it, and I listened back to the whole thing, and it was actually we covered everything. We because I'm pretty familiar with those albums, and we did a good. Dare I say, we did a good job with that one. We might get 6 downloads because there aren't that many diehard Meatloaf fans right now because there's not much going on with him. But I really enjoyed doing it.
My favorite part of the musical podcasts are going back and getting a re-listen, and Bat Out of Hell is really a great classic album, and I enjoyed many of the pieces on Bat Out of Hell 2. 3, it wasn't even. I was on Apple Music for a minute, and now it's off. I've listened to it on YouTube sometimes at work quietly, but I enjoyed it quite a bit, and obviously went on to Apple Music and downloaded a few other pieces, but it was fun to talk about Meatloaf, especially with you. You're a pretty big Loaf fan.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to categorize it, I'd say like Bat Out of Hell is Peter Luger, Bat Out of Hell 2 is like Olive Garden, and Bat Out of Hell 3 is like Denny's, I guess.
I think
they're all satisfying in their own way.
I think Bat Out of Hell 2 was more like TGI Fridays, maybe.
Okay, yeah. Is that an upgrade from Olive Garden?
I think so.
Okay.
Although I love Olive Garden.
I do too.
You know what? Let me tell you about Olive Garden. Everyone would like goof on it, and then I went and I had the chicken parm with the salad, and I was like, I don't know, this is damn good to me.
Yeah, it's good. It's just Italians don't seem to like Olive Garden, and I understand why, because it's not. We're gonna get sued. That's how I put it. Like it's enjoyable. But there's nothing besides the first song on Bat Out of Hell 2, I Do Anything for Love. There's really nothing that stacks up against the first Bat Out of Hell, but what does? It's one of the biggest albums ever.
Well, I love Objects in the Rearview Mirror.
I love those songs too.
And I like Life is a Lemon. That's another one that was pretty much a standout. Some of the other ones, but Objects in the Rearview Mirror is I enjoyed that song. Yeah,
it's great. It's great stuff all around. It's just Meatloaf always comes up with something that's at least fun to listen to. If it's not,
so I guess
poetry.
My last question to you about Meatloaf would be: will he see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in his lifetime?
Yes, he has to. I don't know how old he is. If you said Todd Rundgren is in, right?
He isn't.
Meatloaf has to be. Even if it's like putting Meatloaf and Steinman in together, even though it shouldn't be that way, But Steinman should be as a songwriter. I mean, think of the hits that he has had with and without Meatloaf. You know,
well, isn't there a Songwriters Hall of Fame?
Yes, but in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that people do get put in, you know, for different kinds of contributions. So the answer is Meatloaf has to be, and to me Steinman has to be also separately. That's my thing. And if they're not, then they're missing something. If they put Kiss in, you know.
Well, I was just going to say, when we were kids or younger in our teens, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, those classes were like the Stones, Zeppelin, and now it's like Janet Jackson, very artistic, very much on the periphery.
You saying that brings up something that I was thinking about last night as I was watching TV and contemplating whether I really wanted to wake up the next day.
Stop!
No, I was actually getting deep into my feelings last night, and I was thinking about how much. I don't know if this is something worth talking about, but maybe it's a whole podcast. But like, for guys like us, for guys our age, the next 10 years are going to suck. Like, all the people we grew up idolizing are going to be hitting their late 70s and 80s, and whether it's celebrities, whether it's music people, wrestlers. I was thinking of even Hulk Hogan. He's in he's either at 70 or close to it. I think he's 70, and these guys are getting older. And look, God, knock on wood, God forbid, but even our people we know,
Yep.
and I was just thinking about the next 10 years, and I was like, oh no. It's not going to be good. It's going to suck. Every day we're going to be turning over and getting some bad news. I don't know. But I guess that's the circle of life, I guess. Our parents.
You're right.
Our parents went through it. Something that ran. And I know. Look, this is a personal episode for us, so I don't mind sharing it. But I see my parents, people they know, who are getting sick, and thank God my parents are doing great, and I love them more than anything in the world. But I wonder what it must be like for them to go through having to watch the people that they grew up with disappear, and they seem to take it like champions. Like, hey, this is what it is. We've always known that this was going to be how life goes, but I just it bothers me.
Yeah, it's a tough one to comment on. I think I have one parent that's kind of come to terms with it, and I got another one that has a very, very difficult time with aging. Very, very difficult.
Well, it's not so much that it's us that's aging; it's watching the people around us age. That's what.
Well, I turned 50 this year, and you start thinking about your mortality. It's just
Well, I've been thinking about my mortality since I was 15, but
I start I'm like driving in the car, listening to some contemplative music, and I'm like, how many more years do I have left on this earth? And then I'm like, all right, stop thinking about that.
All right, let's So now we're gonna get
Let's get into more uplifting topics, Groo. Let's get to it. It's a new Nothing Worthwhile segment, really to pump you up. It's This Week in Anti-Semitism.
Check it, Bavakasha. Nothing Worthwhile presents This Week in Anti-Semitism.
All right, Groo, This Week in Anti-Semitism is brought to you by Streitz Matzah. Streitz Matzah, your kosher grocer.
The unleavened experience of a lifetime right there.
That's right. Credit the Jewish Telegraphic Agency, JTA.org. The Twitter account of the British rapper Wiley has been permanently suspended following a 7-day ban for a series of Semitic tweets seen as anti-Semitic. The decision, announced Wednesday, followed a 48-hour boycott by many users, notably British and Jewish. Two very important subgroups, by the way, Groo.
Yes.
Jewish and British.
Damn right.
When I think of important groups of people in the world. Jewish and British are the first two I think about.
Yeah. Talk about the glue. Talk about the center of gravity for planet Earth.
Yes, this was deemed as Twitter's failure to reprimand the artist over his tweets. It comes a day after Facebook and Instagram removed Wiley's private and verified accounts for similar conduct. Twitter in a statement said it was sorry it did not move faster and was continuing to assess the situation internally. We deeply respect the concerns shared by the Jewish community and online safety advocates, the social media network also said in a statement, which promised to work against anti-Semitism on the platform. Among Wiley's comments were, "I don't care about Hitler, I care about black people, and there are two sets of people who nobody has really wanted to challenge, the Jews and KKK. But being in business for 20 years, you start to understand why," according to reports. Of course, that led to Wiley's Jewish manager to quit while representing him. Let's see what this dude Groo was all about. His track, Bossy.
Oh, boy.
All right, here's Bossy by rapper Wiley.
Mike Bossy from the Islanders? Taking himself in a new direction there.
Yeah, I mean, Groo, I don't really foresee this being your kind of music.
Now, who's the guy who said those things?
He's not on the screen right now. That's Sean Paul. Now, we got a bunch of cute girls in the background. I will say that.
Yeah. So what are we listening to?
This is the track by the rapper who made the anti-Semitic.
Oh, I see.
I mean, at least, come on, work with me a little bit. There we go. Oh, that's Idris Elba. Yeah, maybe he's onto something. Good for him. He's got Idris Elba.
Now Idris Elba is a very public figure. Has he come out and said anything?
I have no idea, but apparently, I guess maybe it's cool to make anti-Semitic tweets. All right. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think about. To me, this is, the same as a lot of, like you said, it's not my kind of music, but I can tell that it's good, for the same reason I don't like to listen to Eminem. I'm not a fan of this kind of music, but I know Eminem is great, and I can tell that these guys are very talented. But talent does not, excuse other behaviors.
Well, do you listen to hip hop at all?
Not really, not habitually. But if somebody tells me I should listen to a specific thing, I'll certainly listen to it. And there are a couple that I really do like. Like, I'll give you an example. I love
really.
Yeah. Well, this is going to sound really, really.
Well,
bad.
here's my two questions.
Yeah.
Do you listen to hip hop, and then do you listen to anti-Semitic hip hop? The joke.
I don't listen to anti-Semitic hip-hop, and I don't listen to hip-hop like it's not on my regular rotation. But I do own several hip-hop albums. I do own...
Really?
I own a couple Eminem albums. I own... but, look, I started with Run DMC and the Sugar Hill Gang, which I still love. Is that considered hip-hop, or is that considered rap?
Yeah, aren't they like the fathers of hip-hop?
Yeah, I think so, and I love the Beastie Boys. If Ice Ice Baby is on, I'm listening to it. I love that song.
Have you listened at all to the Beastie Boys channel on Sirius XM?
Yes, I have. But what I don't like about some of those channels, it's interesting you say that. I figured it was just going to be all Beastie Boys all the time. It's not. It's like Beastie Boys and stuff that Beastie Boys were inspired by or they inspired. Like,
you don't like that?
Well, I put it as one of my presets because I figured anytime I hit that thing, I'll hear some Beastie Boys stuff. I don't listen to that channel like I listen to the Springsteen or Billy Joel channels.
Yeah, nobody does. Well, right. They don't have Billy now, but have you listened to the U2 channel?
Yes, that played, but that is just basically song after song by U2. They don't really do much. They don't really do much as far as like, interviews or live. So, well, they play some live cuts, but like, Springsteen, they'll play like entire shows, and Bruce does his DJ thing once a week. So nobody does it like E Street Radio. I have to hand it to them, and I wish the other ones would. Like, I also have Tom Petty Radio, which basically just plays Tom Petty stuff, but they don't give us anything more. There's so much. I mean, think of the things that they could do, and it's not just music. They could do it with anything.
They do play live tracks, but they don't play live shows.
Right. Same with Billy Joel, but Billy Joel, I love how they, even though it gets repetitive, when it does come on, I love having him introduce certain songs, talking about that. That's the platform. That's the kind of programming that I really enjoy. So I'm a little disappointed in the Beastie Boys one, and I know it's not very popular to say, but I did check out the Michael Jackson one. For what it's worth, as sick as a lot of people think he was, and probably was, there's still great music there. But again, they do the same thing. They just play, Jackson and Jackson 5 stuff, cover to cover. They don't really do anything else.
All right, let's get to it, Groo. Today is our very special episode. It's Nothing Worthwhile Revelations. Ooh. We have a series of topics that we are going to reveal here live on the air. Our innermost, deepest thoughts. Groo, how do you want to do this? You want me to go first? You to go first? What
you are the host and moderator, so why don't you introduce the topic? And we have, I think, 9. We had 9 categories of revelations. So you can introduce it, and then for the first one, you'll go first. Then I'll go, and then I'll start with the second one. We'll do it like we do our top 10s.
Okay.
We could do it that way. So yeah, you'll go first.
Our first one is one lie to your parents that you still have not admitted to. I haven't told them I'm classified as a tree. No, that would not be me. I struggled on this one because my mom was brutal. Oh God, if she listens, she's gonna. When I say brutal, she caught me literally in every lie. This was really, really tough. And as I explained to Andy off the air, I probably don't have too many secrets with my parents, as we mentioned, everyone's getting older. But I did in high school. Prior to getting my driver's license, I would take the car out occasionally for a little spin, a little joyride, if you will. We had 2 cars, and there was one car, I guess the little Toyota, that was earmarked for me once I got my license, and we were filming a science project. It was back in the early days with the cameras, and a friend of mine, we went to there was actually a garbage dump in Oceanside, New York, and we filmed on the periphery. It was a rainy day, and the ground was wet and muddy and sludgy, and on the way back, my car got caught, and I couldn't move my car. And I'm looking, and
was
it's
this
like
the
4 o'clock.
Was this the Cressida?
No, there was an older one, like a Tercel. It was a real, no power steering, no power windows.
Roll up windows.
I loved it. I didn't like the fancier car. I almost didn't want that responsibility.
The 8-track player?
Yeah, I'm spinning, the wheels are spinning, and it's like 4:30. I know my mom gets home from work like 5:30. I'm sweating, and somehow, by a miracle, somebody drove by, saw that I was stuck, had a rope, tied his bumper to my front or back bumper, wheeled me out. I drove immediately home in a ball of sweat, and then my mom gets home, and then I remember she remarked, she goes, the front bumper on the Tercel looks a little dirty. And I'm like, I don't know, Ma. And I'm just, my shirt soaked with perspiration. So probably not a great story, but my mom caught me every party. She was the kind, she'd sniff the garbage for beer cans. She knew when the couch was a little bit shifted in the carpeting. Every single time she caught me. So I learned probably best bet wasn't to lie and just to come clean. So Not a very exciting one, but
that took
that's
but
story.
but you know what? It took a lot of courage for you to come forward with that.
Yeah, really, a lot of courage. Yeah, I'm sure yours is much better. Let me hear one lie to your parents that you still have not admitted to, Andrew Gruthius.
Yes, this goes back, to early high school days. I have been caught with the scent. I've been caught. They have found, but I have never been caught doing, and I still deny that I have ever done it, even to this day. And that is smoking cigarettes. They have found them in my room. They have smelled it on me. My dad actually one morning when I was supposed to go, when I was allegedly going with my friends to school, we would skip first period and go to like Dunkin' Donuts, and that was and it's probably the one you remember, right by my house, and that was when you could smoke inside places. So me and my friend were literally sitting there at the counter. We're trying to be adults. We each have a cigarette in one hand while eating like a jelly donut and drinking chocolate milk because we weren't old enough for coffee yet. Yet we're sitting there smoking cigarettes, and my dad walks in, and the cigarette happened to be in the ashtray at the time, so he did not catch me actually smoking. But that was the closest. That was the closest they've ever came to actually seeing me do it that I know of. But
you were cutting class.
Oh yeah,
so he knew that, right?
I don't know how he. I never asked him, and I'll never bring it up. But I don't know how he, and he probably wouldn't even remember. But I don't know how he knew that I was there, or maybe he was stopping there for a cup of coffee or something. I don't remember. I don't know.
And a cigarette himself.
Yeah, hey, I'm sure he's got stuff that he hasn't told me. But yes, so the cigarette habit that I had, I do not have anymore. Thank God. I wised up after too long. Thank God, nothing's gone wrong. Knocking wood on that one. But I've never admitted to them, and they have all the evidence in the world. But I've never admitted to them that I ever did that.
Can we talk about cigarette smoking for a second and your past with it?
Yeah.
Okay, so were you a regular cigarette smoker at one time in your life?
Yes, and I remember the exact time. It was actually, and if my mother hears this, she'll probably have a fit because it was.
Well, I don't want you to say anything.
No. It's okay, believe me. It was probably when I was in Israel. Because everybody smokes there, or at least when I was there, they smoked there, and they smoked there all the time. They will literally sit down at the dinner table, eating potatoes with one hand, with a lit cigarette in the other.
Get out of here!
And it was and you can smoke anywhere you want there. At least that's the way it was. And so there, I was smoking all the time. As everybody else was, but that was the only time that I could say that I would literally, and that was for about 5 months. That was the only time in my life that I could say I was actually smoking like a pack a day. Never.
How would you characterize your cigarette smoking though? After that, were you occasional stress? You'd have a cigarette.
No, it was. I wouldn't. It was
socially.
It was more than socially, but not. I would never call myself a chain smoker. Like a lot of people say, how much do you smoke? How much do you smoke? And they say a pack a day, pack and a half a day. I would at my most, I'd be maybe a pack a week. So it was never like a terrible. I mean, it's a terrible thing to do, but me saying I've been smoking or I had been smoking for 20 years is different than somebody like people I know who are always smoking, smoking for 20 years. You know what I mean?
So So your parents were never aware of even you being a casual cigarette smoker?
I'm sure they were aware. It's just something I've never admitted to them. I will always deny it.
So you never said to them, "Hey, Mom, back off. I smoke
never.
5 cigarettes a day."
Never, and I still will never say it.
All right. Well, I'm glad you.
But I don't. But I don't smoke. Yeah, I don't smoke anymore. So, but I still will. I will. Of course, there's temptation. There's nothing. There's literally nothing to do. And it does get stressful. Especially in these times, and living. Not that I don't want to lament here.
What is this? The Andrew Gruthius
but living alone,
depression hour.
But living alone is that kind of adds to the temptation. But I've been pretty good, and but yes, it is something I've never admitted to my parents that I actually did, and I never will admit it to them.
Okay, it's funny because Marie went away with her girlfriends. Like, they just got a little place out here in Arizona, and I was like, "There's nothing to do. Like, I couldn't. There was nowhere to go, even if I wanted to cut loose for a little bit. Like, there was nothing to do." I was like, so I get it.
Yeah.
All right, that was a good one, Groo. All right, let's get to our next topic.
Is that my? No, that's my phone. Screw it. I don't want to answer it.
All right, let's move on then.
It's the house phone. I'm like the only one left. I'm like the only one left on Earth that still uses a landline.
My dad's got a house line, so maybe that's a Sam Champion with the latest AccuWeather forecast for Florida.
Yeah. All right, so what's next?
Andrew, why don't you hit the next one up next? It's going to be the chick flick you watch every time it's on television. Andrew, what's your favorite chick flick?
This one, well, that doesn't mean it's my favorite chick flick, but it's one that I can watch all the time. All right, okay. This one was relax. This one was very easy. And actually, it was on yesterday, and I was just channel surfing, and there it was, and I watched it. From like the middle on, and the chick flick that I will watch anytime it's on TV anywhere is a little movie from 1990 called Ghost. Now, would you consider that to be a chick flick? I do.
You know what? That's the first thing I thought about when you did your reveal. Is I never considered Ghost a chick flick. It's sappy. I just and I'm not saying it's not, but it just never came into. It's definitely a romantic, but it's got some action elements. It gets a little serious, and I'll be curious to think of what you think of my movie. Well, I am a fan of Ghost. I do. I don't know if I love it, but I very much like it, and I will watch for sure if it's on. But all right, state your case.
I'm not going to change my pick because I do think it's a chick flick.
Why?
Because at the core of it, it's a romance. That's the driving. That's the whole reason for the story. It's yes, there's the money and Whoopi Goldberg just kills it. She's amazing in that movie. But the core of the movie is Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. And it gets hot and heavy, but it's also a great movie.
Tony Goldwyn,
yeah, Tony Goldwyn, probably a career ruining performance because he was so good. Then he was so evil, and it's hard to cast him as a good guy after that.
Was Tony not in a few other decent movies? I want to say I remember Tony being in a few other movies.
He was. The only one I can remember right now is a movie called Cuffs with Christian Slater, and he was actually really funny in it.
Okay.
But I think he's more of a director now.
Okay.
But Ghost is, I do consider it a chick flick, but I will give you, just to end my thing, I will give you my second place one, which wasn't even close, but I think you'll call it a chick flick, and that is a movie more recent called Valentine's Day. You remember
Never
those?
Seen it.
Have you heard of it, though?
Never seen. I've heard of it.
Yeah,
yes.
It's got that ensemble cast: Ashton Kutcher, Julia Roberts, and a bunch of other people. But yeah, I love that movie too. But Ghost is my number one on this.
Really quick on Ghost. Just give me some thoughts overall, like mini review. Is it a good, well-made movie? What'd you think of it? Just real quick. Just give me a little backdrop on.
Ghost is a phenomenal story, a phenomenal script. It's phenomenal casting, right down to the bit parts. There are people in that movie, there's an actor named Stephen Root. Who I don't know if you know who he is, but I know Steve. But he's in that movie for a minute and a half, and he knocks it out of the park as a sympathetic police officer. It's just so beautifully casted and so well written. The guy in the subway, the ghost in the subway who teaches him how to move stuff. It's like when you cast a movie with all these familiar faces, these great actors and actresses. It gives you it's like people who are along for the ride with you, and that's what's special about Ghost. You never feel like you're watching it alone. I don't know if that's a weird thing to say, but it's and it's just so well made. It's just the script is just it goes from point A to point B to point C. Everything mounts. There's not a second wasted, a second of screen time wasted. It's as close to a perfect movie as you can get, and it's funny. It's exciting, and it's ultimately very heartbreaking. But
did you buy it? Obviously you did. You bought into the supernatural elements of the story?
Yes. In fact, I'm it's a little morbid, but I'm interested in different writers' views of the afterlife. Okay. And morbid about the ghost one is a very interesting one. Another one of my favorites, with that is a movie called Defending Your Life with Albert Brooks. Yes. That's a great vision of that. So I am interested in movies like Heaven Can Wait with Warren Beatty from the 70s, but I think this one's better. This one's just great.
Interesting. I've never heard you reference Ghost, but I think it's a good pick. Actually, a great pick, and you stated your case. So nice, wonderful.
All right. Well, now I'm looking
Ghost
forward
for Groo.
Yes. Now, Mr. Moody will reveal a chick flick that he watches every time it's on TV, bar none.
Andrew, the greatest chick flick of all time is Devil Wears Prada.
What? I missed it.
The Devil Wears Prada.
The Devil Wears Prada.
The Devil Wears Prada, 2006. Wow. Andrew, similar to Ghost, you've got Meryl Streep, you've got Anne Hathaway, you've got Emily Blunt, and you've got, of course, I think he's in every movie known to man, Stanley Tucci. A guy, I mean, he's in Transformers. The guy's everywhere.
Great actor.
I had some familiarity with the novel.
Mm-hmm.
My ex-wife she had the novel. It was in our bathroom, and every time I went on the can for a numbered dose, I would pick up Devil Wears Prada and thumb through it. And I think the story just interests me. Young ingenue in the city.
Well, I've never seen it, so
all right. Well, then I won't give it away. So
don't give it away. But I've never seen the movie.
And I guess, Andrew's definitely a more well-versed movie fan, but Meryl Streep's awesome. She's simply awesome in this movie.
She always is.
Yeah, but it's a light, it's a light movie. It's got some, obviously some class overtones, rich versus common folk. It kind of skewers the fashion industry and even the meanness and the bullying. Obviously, from a female perspective, maintaining weight, always looking good. There's a lot of themes like that have become more important, I suppose, or more prevalent in our society today. But it's just a well-made, fun movie. Yeah, kind of a girlish soap opera. Adrian Grenier, Simon Baker. If it's on, I always find myself turning to it. And Andrew, for me, my number 2 chick flick is The Beastmaster.
Hey, Tanya Roberts, right? That 30-second scene under the waterfall. That's definitely a chick flick.
No. That's just any HBO movie that's on. I consider it Beastmaster and HBO. It's always on the loop.
Hey man, you know what else is on the loop for me? Beastmaster 2, Through the Portal of Time.
Was that still Mark Singer?
That's still Mark Singer.
Yeah.
Where is he?
So,
he's still out there somewhere.
I don't know, but
anyway, you want to know with this category? I always knew I was going to say Ghost, but I was thinking of another one because I was hoping it would line up. We would have the same one because I go back in our history.
I was interested to hear your pick.
But can you guess?
Ghost is good.
But there was one that's definitely that I think is considered a chick flick that we both might have said because we saw it together.
Go ahead.
You don't know? I'm trying to see if you know.
No, I just come on.
I was hoping like we would have both hit a thing with we both would have said Legally Blonde because I remember you and I saw that on like a day off from camp. And we were like, I think we saw it because what we wanted to see, maybe like Rambo 3 was sold out or something. So we had no choice, and we were like, oh God, this is going to be so
let me ask
weird.
You a question.
But then we walked out of there, and we were like, hook, line, and sinker. We loved it.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. That's a broad comedy. I don't, for some reason, don't consider broad comedies chick flicks. Like I don't know why, but I feel like chick flicks are more serial dramas, more dramas with more, maybe not a hardcore drama, but serial drama, some comedy, but it's got serious. Legally Blonde, I mean, obviously there's some serious message to tell, but it's a silly kind of fluffy movie for the most part.
Yeah, would you consider a movie like The Sound of Music a chick flick?
I'd consider The Sound of Music a classic, not really a chick flick.
Yeah, because that was in my mind too. Because I do love that movie, but it's not something.
You know what? I'm going to put this in our data bank for another podcast.
Yeah,
but
it's not. But that's not
chick flicks.
Yeah, but that's not a movie. I couldn't say that I'd watch that at any time, anywhere, because it's like 3 hours long. Number one, and number two, you got to be in the mood for that one. But it is a great movie. But Ghost is one of those things where you can watch anytime from any point. You know what I mean?
Well, look, we got Ghost, Devil Wears Prada. Let's move on to our next topic, Andrew. It's one personal decision you wish you could take back. You want me to hit this up first?
This is you, because I went first last time, so this one's you.
Yeah, I there's probably two. I quit football in high school, and I think that was a very bad decision. And as I'm older, I'm just not a fan of quitting. I would always preach to kids or students to finish your commitment, and then if you don't want to re-up. But I would probably say if I could take back, I think this monstrosity on my leg, my first tattoo. Let me see if I could. Do you see this?
I've seen it.
Hold on. All right. It looks like King Ghidorah now from the Godzilla series. It's... I was a freshman in college, and we all lived in the first floor of Hayes Hall at SUNY Cortland State University in New York, and we all thought we were the coolest, and we were. Great group of guys, and then we traveled into Syracuse, and we went to some, I don't know, probably some hepatitis C positive tattoo parlor, and of course, Andy, in true Moody Jewish fashion, I was going to be defiant to my upbringing. And I was going to fight against the machine by getting this tattoo. And I was actually the youngest. We went by birth dates, and it was like 5 of us. So I literally sat in the waiting room for like 5 hours.
Wow.
Because it took everyone like an hour plus. And we all got on our left leg. And like I literally fell asleep, and the guy woke me up. I was like, well, it's like, now's your turn. And I don't remember the experience being very painful, but... it sort of faded over time. And then what did happen was I came home months later on the weekend to see a Grateful Dead concert at Giant Stadium, and I was walking like in shorts, and my mom literally grabbed my left leg and ripped my short leg up, went, "What is this?" And I was like, "A tattoo," and then you're gonna get plastic surgery, and I go, "No, I'm not." And, big argument, and of course, my mother said something to the effect of, "Well, you're not going to be able to be buried in a Jewish cemetery." So, of course, my ultimate wisdom, I said, "I won't know where you bury me. I'll be dead." And of course,
your dad was probably like, "Hey, I think it looks good."
Yeah, well, my dad, my parents were long divorced by then, and my dad, my dad, he went. The first time my dad retired and moved to Arizona, I went to stay with him. I was still living in Florida, and we wake up or whatever, and I'm in his kitchen, and he walks in, no t-shirt, shorts, and he's got scorpions on his chest, and like, what the hell happened to you? I moved out to the Wild West, And so, my dad and my mom were a different mindset, but I got a second tattoo on my right arm, which I still enjoy. But if I had to take something back, I'd probably take back that first tattoo.
Well, if you didn't get the first one, I'm guessing you probably wouldn't have gotten the second one.
Well, the second tattoo,
once you get one, as far as the Jewish thing goes, it's over.
Well, they are addictive. I've gotten two. I haven't gotten any since. I'll tell you real quick. The second one, I went to a recommended tattoo parlor, and they were closed for renovations. And so the guy said, "Look, I could hook you up make you an appointment. My fellow colleague is at Funhouse Tattoo in Pompano Beach, Florida, right by the water." And I said, "Okay." So the guy gets on the phone. I don't hear what he says.
Right.
He comes back with a card, and he goes, "You have a 1:30 this afternoon at Funhouse Tattoo." And I said, "Who am I asking for?" And he said, "Sicko." So I walk in, in all my white and Jewishness, and I'm like, "Hi, I have a 1:30.
I'm looking for Sicko."
Yeah, and who? Sicko? And then the guy comes in with the studs in his nose and the chains and the "Hi, Sicko. I'm Evan." And anyway, that was the second tattoo. But I've since halted. But I guess if I could take that decision back, I would swap out the first tattoo.
Oh my, Sicko! I was going to be like, all right, get in the chair before this thing rusts.
Yeah, hold on, I got a dirty nail. Let me lick it clean. Yeah. All right, it's good to go.
Well, my personal decision that I wish I could take back was actually another one that was very easy, and I was actually talking to my parents about it the other day. And it's not going to be nearly as funny as yours. I think that's hilarious. This is, when I was in seventh grade, going to West Hollow Junior High, now West Hollow Middle School in Dix Hills, Long Island. I wasn't doing very well. Wasn't functioning very well socially, and wasn't my grades were crap. And my father decided to send me to a private school. For when I went in the 8th grade, Friends Academy in Locust Valley, New York.
Okay.
And I spent 2 years there. Pretty much early on in my second year, I decided that I really didn't feel like I was fitting in there. So I sort of made the personal decision. I'm just gonna phone this in, and I'm gonna go back to public school next year. I didn't really have that discussion with anybody. I decided to just basically shit the bed. And the decision that I would take back is I would have stayed in that school. I could have done it. I could have done well. I could have fit in. I didn't try. And I wish I could do that again, because I think about that school, and I think about the people there, and how much I feel like I missed. And I don't know where my life would be today. It would probably be very different. So it's very difficult to say I would take this back, because if you change one big thing like that, and your whole trajectory can change. There are probably a lot of people who I'm really great friends with now who I might not even know, if I had stayed at that school. But in looking at many decisions that I've made over the years, that's one that if I could do it again, I would have stayed, and I should have. And I didn't apologize to my parents, because I don't think they're like that. They they don't look back like I do, and I'm glad that they don't. But I've always carried around some level of guilt, because I know the sacrifice, financial and physical sacrifice, that my parents made for me to be able to go to what then was a $10,000 a year private school, and I just didn't appreciate it while I was there. And I would take that one back.
Did you miss your friends at your regular school?
I didn't have any friends. I mean,
stop.
Well, I did, but you know what, Evan? It's strange.
You always want to paint this very depressing picture.
It's not a depressing picture. It's that because look, as you get older, you think about these things, and my quote unquote boys were always from camp. Were always was like Joe LeRae. Even our friend Sarge for a while, and when I was younger,
we never went to. Hold on. Let me ask a couple. We never went to school together, but I'm assuming you had some hometown friends, or even maybe camp friends who lived in your neighborhood.
No, I didn't have any. I didn't have any camp friends who lived in my neighborhood that I was tight with. I did have a group of kids that I was hanging out with, but nobody that I connected to on the same kind of level that I've connected with camp people. Okay. It's just did I have a group of friends who would pick me up at 9:30 at night to go out and do stupid shit? Yes, but it was
hey!
I feel like I would have had more of that if I had stayed at Friends Academy. Because I see the value of a small school where kind of and I guess what I didn't like about it was that everybody knew each other and everybody was sort of in everybody else's business. There were a couple things like some things my parents did. They did kind of make me go to things that I didn't want to go to. Like, for example, I remember a birthday party. We were 14 years old, I guess, and it's one of those things where when someone in your class has a party, they have to invite the entire class. Now, to be fair, there were only 50 people in the 8th grade class, but I didn't want to go. I didn't want to have to, I wanted to do my own things, and I just look back on that and I'm like, what was stopping me? I still don't know. I still haven't put my finger on it. What kept me from accepting being a part of what, judging from the people who I've sort of stayed in touch with through like Facebook, and all that stuff years later, I see people doing really well and they still talk to each other and they still hang out together, and I wonder if I would have been a part of that, and it would have been nice because I never really had that kind of situation at home, and it's probably because there weren't a lot of people that I liked that much in my home area. Yeah. That's why I like because even when I was in high school, I was hanging out with you. Remember we'd go to we'd do the flea market thing, and that was when I was 15 years old. Yeah, you were a little bit older, but you were going to college then, so you would come over a lot. We watch wrestling, we do all that stuff. I was hanging out with you. And so you guys were the ones who would sort of trump everybody else. You have that group of people who like you could be in the middle of somebody's bar mitzvah, but if your buddy calls, gotta go. Sorry, like you guys were that for me. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but.
But that's the folly of youth, and I think your story there is demonstrates what I try to relate to students today, which is it's not what you do, it's what you didn't do, And so I think for me, when I look back on my childhood, I regret not being as dedicated as a student as I could have been, and I think maybe perhaps I could have. And listen, my girlfriend, my family, you did great, and I guess. But I've always felt like, I wish I could have been more disciplined, really committed to my studies, and perhaps I could have done even more.
Yeah, but for me, it wasn't about that. I realized later.
I didn't say that was about you.
No, but I mean, I mean, it wasn't about that. About the school part of it. It was about the kind of life it was, and
what I'm hearing is that setting could have been more beneficial to you, and now as you've grown older and you've connected or view some of these people that you went to school with, they seem to be doing well. And what if I would have stayed and committed to to that school? What
Yes.
could have my future looked like today?
Yeah, and
That's a good one.
because I definitely did not enjoy high school, and I did not have good years in high school. I mean, it was to go from public to private back to public. I thought it was going to be a seamless transition. It was the dumbest. It was the dumbest thing. I ran right into a brick wall. But that's not why I would want to change that decision. I'd want to change that decision because I know looking back, I could have done it, and I could have done real well, and it would have been great. And it was a gift, and it was a gift from my parents. You know.
Anything else you want to get off your chest while we're at it?
Hey, well, that's the whole point of this thing. Right? I'm sorry, it's not a Bangkok tattoo parlor, but.
It wasn't Bangkok; it was Syracuse. And
same thing. Right. Same thing.
Let's get from one depressing story to the next. Andrew, I think you're up first. Embarrassing date night story. Give it a go.
Oh boy. Okay. So, do you remember when we were sort of living together in Turtle Run in Coral Springs, and the internet boom was just starting, and we were kind of like enjoying like going online and meeting girls and stuff like that, like meeting
girls, meeting guys. Yeah. I got you.
You would always come in and you'd be like, because I had the computer. You didn't even have your a computer yet. I had one, and you came in and you'd be like, all right, Groo, what's the move? What do I say? What do I do? And we would just have so much fun with that. And there was this one girl, a really pretty blonde girl, who wanted to meet up for dinner. So I don't remember her name. I honestly don't. She was really good looking though.
That's okay.
I can't remember where we went, but it was definitely in the upper price range. And I just remember walking into that restaurant, and you remember, like, I would dress the same way whether I was sitting watching Raw in the apartment or we'd go out to Beach Place. I'd wear just a crummy T-shirt and jeans and shorts. Yeah, right.
Hence the single status.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I wore to this day. And I was like, and I remember walking in and seeing her, and she saw me, and her smile just turned to like, oh, hi, like that. And I'm like, okay, we're off to a flying start. So literally, we sit at this restaurant and we're barely talking. I have nothing to say, and neither does she. But that's not the embarrassing part. The embarrassing part came at the end when I got the bill, and I hadn't yet realized how credit cards actually work. That you have to kind of pay the bill in order for it to work. So I had 3 different credit cards, all of which declined. So she ended up having to pay like $250 for both of us, and I could tell that I knew I was never ever going to see her again. She was so disgusted just being there with this yo-yo, who obviously is a what do they call a deadbeat who had no money. I literally reached into my pocket to see if I had any cash. I was like Spicoli. I had like 2 singles and like 3 quarters. Like, I'm like, all right, that's not going to cut it. So yeah, just like and that was that was a date that never had a chance. But that was that's an embarrassing thing where you're I got it. I'll pay. No, let's pay for half. Hey, come on, I'm the guy. I'm the man. I'll do it. Take it. Give it to the server. Server comes back. Sir, this credit card is declined. I'm supposed to destroy it. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. So yeah, it seems like it's right out of a movie, but that's what happened. That's
did you go? Was your credit card progression Amex to MasterCard to Stu's House of Credit?
It was the Amway credit card. It was. It could only be used. It could only be used at like Sal's Fish Market or something. No, this was what had happened was that you get I had just started college at FAU, and they prey on people who don't know what they're doing, and I had this credit card with like a huge a huge limit. It was like $7,000. I'm like, oh, this is great. So I go and I spend, like $300 on some BS, and then I get the bill and I see they only the minimum payment is only like $11. Oh, so I don't even have to pay that. Well, if you don't pay the minimum, you can't use the card. I didn't realize that. I figured
nobody in your life explained credit cards to you, or somebody pulled you aside?
They did. My parents did once I was deep into credit card debt. If you think once I got that credit card, you think I told them? No. Yeah. I was like, hey, man, this is great. So, but that date taught me a lesson, definitely. Pay your credit card bills.
Well, my embarrassing date night story, I was also in South Florida. I took a young lady out for sushi, and I remember we had a good time, and I was definitely attracted to her, and drank way too much sake.
I love this already.
And then we went back to my boudoir, so to speak, and I remember getting romantic, and then the next thing you know, I start feeling sick. And I end up going to the bathroom, and then next thing I know, I wake up passed out on the bathroom floor, and I make it back into the bedroom, and this young lady's sleeping, and let's just say the moment expired. She was not interested anymore, and blew my opportunity, and of course, in typical Moody fashion, never heard back from her. So I guess the moral of the story is I finally learned I'm not a strong drinker, and definitely not sake. And I made a decision actually about 2 years ago to stop drinking pretty much overall, but drank too much sake and ended up passed out on the bathroom floor, and any opportunity for some physicality went right out the window.
Do you remember her name?
I do, and I do not want to say it on the air.
All right. See, I don't remember my girl's name. Maybe that's just because I dreamed it. I don't know, but no, it really happened. But it's funny because I was thinking. You just reminded me of a short story that you told me one time. When you were, I think you were working towards your teaching degree, and you were living. Was there ever a point where you were living in Oceanside, like in your 20s?
Yeah, well, for my master's, I mostly stayed in Huntington because it was closer, living with my dad. But yeah, I'd go home on the weekends and stuff like that.
I just remember you.
Oh no!
And if you want me to cut this story out, I will. But I remember you telling me a story about like you came home at like 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. Maybe you and I and some of our friends had gone out somewhere.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
You came home on a Saturday night, and you went to the bathroom, brush your teeth, and then you're on your way to your room, and you pass by your mom and your stepfather's room, and you hear some stuff going on in there, and you're looking at yourself, and you're like, I'm a college student, my parents are getting laid, and I'm about to go to sleep and watch wrestling and listen to Howard Stern. You're like, just like so depressing. It was so depressing. It was like, and I just remember picturing you just standing there like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? What happened to me?
That's a true story. I went to the bathroom, washed my hands, and as I'm walking across, of course, my parents' doors closed. I hear, again, and I'm like, I just look down at the carpeting and I go, Saturday night in the United States, and I'm home watching a repeat of SNL. Woody Harrelson.
Saturday night is the loneliest night.
And my parents are having, my mom and my stepdad are having a more fun night than me. But that's probably the rule more than the exception. So
these days,
yes, that's
probably. But
nothing worse than hearing your parents moaning from their bedroom as you're alone.
Can you keep it down? I'm reading PWI. Come on. I'm trying to see who the most hated wrestlers are.
Right. I'm reading about Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair, dream matchup.
Chris Adams is blind. Hey, guys, relax.
All right, Groo, can we break and go to a live commercial?
Yes, we can.
Hey, Groo, it's time for our first sponsor. It's New You Life Center, located in uptown Phoenix, Arizona. Groo, let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Do you ever really look at yourself in the mirror? I mean, really, really look at yourself in the mirror?
I stopped doing that when I was 7. All right, fine. Yes, every day. Yes, I do.
Yeah, you ever look at it and you go, "Oh my God, what the hell happened to me?"
It goes without saying.
All right, work with me, Groo. It's a live commercial read. New U Life Center, Andrew, is Arizona's newest medical weight loss, hormone optimization, and aesthetic treatment wellness practice. Located right in the uptown section in the beautiful city of Phoenix, Arizona, New U Life Center gives you that luxurious spa-like environment that you, Andrew, that you deserve. They're committed to providing you expert care if you're looking to feel good about your overall well-being. Whether it's hormone balancing for men or women, medical aesthetics, or cosmetic injectables, New U Life Center has got it. Think about this, Groo. They got testosterone replacement therapy for men or women. Andrew, remember back in the day, if we were lucky enough to get with a woman, a couple of hours later, you were ready to go again. Now,
a couple of hours? I was ready to go 5 minutes later.
Yeah, now I got to take a weekend in Denmark and I'm smoking cigarettes and I don't even smoke.
Yes, I remember those days fondly. But it sounds to me like what you're saying is that if I want to stop becoming physically nauseous every time I look in the mirror, I have to move to Arizona?
Perhaps, Andrew, perhaps. No, you could just take a trip down here. Estrogen replacement therapy for women, Botox. Andrew, you imagine this? My face is so riddled with lines.
Sin.
And you know, it's look, I can show you right here. Look, take I-95 all the way up to Commercial Boulevard. Make a left. I mean, so look.
And I see right there, that's the 93 Grateful Dead show with Bruce Hornsby right there over your left eye right there.
This is 95 and Commercial Boulevard right here. If you head to my left ear, that's the beach.
There you go. Look at that.
So, look, you could Botox, derma fillers, pedio threading, new skull body contouring using wood therapy. I mean, wouldn't you want your body sculpted?
Wouldn't you want my body sculpted?
Platelet-rich plasma. Groo, are you ready to make that change?
Yes, Lord, I am ready to make that change.
Are you looking for the right tools, resources, and support team to support you every step of the way?
Preach to me, my brother, yes!
The New U Life Center is what you're looking for. Call them at 602-274-0068. Tell Marie and Dr. Cynthia that Moody and Groo sent you and get 15% off your first service. That's 15% off. 15%. Groo, you know what you can do with 15% off?
What?
You could put that in the bank, and after 6 years, you could have 16% off.
That's awesome. I'm in. I'm in. You just changed my whole life. The hell with Friends Academy. I am joining. What's this called again?
New U Life Center.
New U Life Center. I'm in. You know, we should do this together.
Oh yeah, we could have a his and his spa treatment day. Really
manly.
Really manly. Well, that's it for New U Life Center. Thank you, New U. All right, Andrew, let's get back to our program. The single biggest waste of money that you've made in your life. That's me.
I think, you're first on this one.
Well, this one was a little bit of a tough one too, because obviously I'm Jewish, and because I'm Jewish, it's my birthright to do well with money. Clearly, but let's see. This one kind of ties into a little bit of vanity, but I want to say in my mid to late 30s, I was not happy with my bottom teeth. They had shifted, so I actually went back to an orthodontist and got braces. And those efforts were so painful,
oh my God,
and I was so uncomfortable that a couple of weeks later, I just went back to the guy and said, "Rip them off! I don't want them anymore. I don't care if my teeth are shifted." And I must have spent like thousands of dollars on orthodontics, and nothing changed. And so I maybe had the braces on for less than a month and spent thousands of dollars, and got, of course, zero back on my return. So. Moody's infamous mid to late 30s orthodontist run of braces, that was probably my single biggest waste of money that I could speak of on this podcast. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
It sounds like a Monty Python sketch. Wink, wink,
yes.
nudge, nudge. Well, I think I remember that phase that you were in. I have a faint recollection of seeing you with braces one day, and then like 3 days later they were gone, like something like that.
Yeah, I probably never spoke of it.
Yeah, you probably like, were they the invisible ones, or were they like the silver ones?
No,
that can.
The guy didn't like. He wanted the old school, metal,
ones.
like rust, and just get them in there and rip your teeth. Get them right in straight.
Yeah, that stuff costs a lot of money, and well, mine. I'm just going to say, this is the single biggest waste of money that I can remember. Now, I waste money multiple times a day on many, many different things. All my life.
Streams.
All my life.
Yes.
I mean, I've probably squandered hundreds of thousands, if not close to seven figures. But I have two words for you, Evan.
Uh-oh.
Don Lapre. Does that ring a bell?
Lapre.
Does that name ring a bell?
Don Lapre?
Yes.
Like D-O-N?
Yes.
I want to say there's a vagueness, but I don't know who or what you're referring to with that name.
This guy, Don Lapre, was one of those late-night infomercial guys who was always had these get-rich-quick schemes with, like, I have this amazing new idea that nobody's thought of yet. And this and that and the other thing, all these innovations, and you just had to buy his videotapes and like those VHS tapes, and he would send them to you, and he would basically send you the materials that you need. And I saw this one day, and I said, okay, I can do this. This is stuff I can do. And I literally, for probably close to 6 months, I was buying every new thing that this guy was putting out and trying it, and they weren't working. But the funny thing,
what was Don's premise? What was the?
It was making money from home. It was making.
What were you doing? What
it was just. I'll give you an example of the last thing that I tried.
Was this 2 weeks ago?
No. This was much longer than that. In fact, it must have been in like probably, I want to say, the early to mid 90s.
Okay.
I wasn't in Florida yet. Definitely wasn't in Florida yet. And he had this thing. It was called a lifetime reminder service. Basically, what it was is people sign up and they pay for a thing that literally sends them a postcard to remind them of important things. Like, you'll get a reminder 5 days before your mom's birthday. Hey, it's Cheryl Moody's birthday in 5 days. So, and I thought, oh, what a great idea. Little did I know that like 3 days later, the internet would have these very things that,
right.
It was, and so I tried that. So it was things like that. It was like, quote unquote, revolutionary ideas which were already in practice. You just didn't see them. And I don't know, thousands of dollars went to this dude. He found a way to make money doing nothing. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, you could look up on YouTube, and I'm sure you could see Don Lapre videos. And I think actually he went to jail.
Probably.
I think
Probably.
Later on, it's basically the same idea as like the Tony Robbins stuff, except I do think that I think Tony Robbins is legit. But it's
yeah. Tony Robbins is more like an inspirational speaker.
Yeah, but the way he sells his stuff, he'll do these phony late night talk shows. Remember. So he would do that. And this guy would do that also. It'd be like it would literally look like the Larry King Live set. And the host would be an old guy with suspenders, but it wouldn't be Larry King. Just asking him, so tell us about this new lifetime reminder. Well, John, and I'm sitting there like, oh, I could do this. It's so easy. All we want to do is make money for doing nothing. So I found my way. Well, I lost money doing nothing. Actually, I worked hard at losing money.
I have Miss Chloe calling me for my astrology. Only $19.99 in 7 easy installments.
Yes, and I heard she's also selling hydrochloric, whatever that thing is.
Hydrochloroquine?
Yeah, I heard she's touting that now.
Thank you for nuancing that political joke.
But yeah, that's my. Again, it's not hilarious, but to me, it's like, what the hell was I thinking? So that would be definitely, I think, my biggest waste of money. Now, my parents wasted a lot of money on me, my fault, not theirs, but we're talking about money that I threw away.
All right, let me ask you one final question before we move on.
Yeah.
How much dough did you think you wasted on Don?
At least $5,000 or $6,000.
Get that much dough?
I think
really?
So. I think so. Yeah.
Oh boy,
no more than that. But I remember just money just being, and they would automatically withdraw it from your bank account. So and you didn't have like now you could go on your bank account with one touch on your phone and see what's going on. You get a text message saying $220 has been taken from your bank. It wasn't like that then. You actually had to look at your bank statement every month when it came in the mail. So
yeah, that's too much work, right, Groo? I mean, why look at a statement
but
try
the point
to balance
is,
your account?
Well, yeah, but it's much easier to balance your account now when you have immediate access to it.
Yeah, okay.
Rather than just once a month when you get the statement. But I really can't think of any besides I would say that I throw away money on entertainment, but I'm entertained, so it's not throwing away money. This is money that went literally down the crapper.
Well, speaking of crapper, Andrew, that's a great transition. Up next.
Oh wait a minute, no, you didn't give me. Oh yeah, you did. You did give me the braces. I'm sorry.
Let me run the show, please.
I just forgot. I forgot. I'm sorry.
You have your strengths. I have mine. All right, Andrew, that was a great transition.
Yeah.
That one crazy bathroom story, Groo. I believe you're up first.
Okay.
The toilet is yours.
Yeah. Well, this toilet wasn't mine. This was last year, actually. This was last year. It was in Europe, France to be exact. We were on our Cambridge trip with our school, where we take. I think we had like 60 or 70 kids.
I love the transparency, but maybe you want to keep some things a little nebulous in case anyone's listening. He's like, what? I was in the city of Thames on a Cambridge trip. The address was one. Right,
this is a bathroom story. It's
I hear you.
I was over there as a chaperone, and we're walking around Paris. One of the first days in Paris, and something I had eaten in the morning definitely did not agree with me, and it was going to happen. Whether it was outside in the middle of it was going to happen, and I'm literally, and these are not the kinds of places that you could run into and sit like a Starbucks and just run into the bathroom, like these kind of like small mom and pop little eateries that you actually you can't just go in there and say, hey, I don't want to eat, but can I use your bathroom? No, it doesn't work that way. So I finally found one. And I ran in there. It was freezing. The walls were actually made of stone. But I remember I literally landed. I didn't sit on the thing. I landed on the toilet and I let it out, and I let out a big moan. And my moan, you guys can't see this, but I'm seeing Evan laughing because he's picturing this. And I let out this big moan, and what freaked me out was the combination of the moan and the noise that the defecation was making echoed throughout this chamber. Now remember, I didn't know where I was. I just ran into the first possible building that I could find a bathroom.
I can interrupt, I'm just picturing like this very cultured French quaint little place, perhaps. And then this big American sweaty monstrosity of a man runs in and just,
well, what happened was
he's screaming.
I was in there. Yes, I was making noise because I didn't think anybody could hear me, but the echo was there, and I was like, oh boy. So finally, I was done. Okay, they did have toilet paper in there. I was thankful of that. And I walk out, and I didn't remember. I didn't know exactly where I was. I walk out, and I am in. It reminded me of St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York. You ever been inside that place?
No, but I've walked by.
You ever seen The Godfather, the baptism scene?
Yes,
that kind of place, and people all around, and they're looking towards me, and I realized where I was. I was in the cathedral at Notre Dame. And maybe not so coincidentally, a week later, that cathedral burned down. Remember Notre Dame was on fire? This was a week before.
I think
I blew it up, it sounds like.
I think defecation in the cathedral is like, 7 years of good luck?
I hope so. But yeah, that was, that's the one that just sprang to mind. Maybe because it was so, just the idea of that happening in Notre Dame, the Notre Dame, and then literally a week later, we're back home watching on TV, the thing is in flames, and I'm sitting there like, wasn't me. No, I don't know if anybody saw me come out of that bathroom, but the bathroom, I didn't really describe it well because I didn't want to give it away, but it's literally like, I know I'm giving a lot of references here, but have you ever seen the Goonies? You've seen the Goonies. Remember when they went to the bathroom in the caves underneath?
Yes.
That's what it looked like. It was like rocks with a toilet. Like that's what it looked like.
That's all you need.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying to have this happen in the cathedral at Notre Dame, where the body of Victor Hugo still lies. Like it's a man. Although I think he's someplace else, but I'm getting my landmarks confused. But this was at Notre Dame. Yes, crapping at Notre Dame, not the school, but the actual Notre Dame.
Yeah, I don't know if I could top that, but. My crazy bathroom story, I'm going to harken back to my college days. So I had just graduated college, and my parents came up with my brother Andrew, and we drank and partied for a day or two, and packed up my dorm. And my brother said, "I'll drive with I like to ride with you back." So it's maybe upstate New York, a 5.5 hour drive. And so I lecture my brother, hey, I want to go a straight shot to Long Island. We're not stopping. I yell at him literally, I hope you have no bathroom concerns, because now, of course, as Andy knows, my brother is in a wheelchair. And so the bathroom, of course, I'm being a complete jerk, not sensitive to my brother's needs. I'm telling him, hey, we're heading back. I want to hit no stops. Literally 30 minutes into the drive, my stomach is bubbling out of control.
See, I know you, and I knew this was going to happen.
And we were drinking quite a bit before college graduation. So I end up, I don't know, on the side of the road, squatting next to a farmhouse. And my brother puts the brights on and jams the stereo up to like 100
to just attract attention.
Yeah, and I just roll up my pants, run back to the car. I think the door opens. I don't know, and so I'm really not doing well. I'm really sick, and of course, I end up in Hancock, New York, at the McDonald's.
Wow.
And I got a second round. And I'm walking in the McDonald's, and I look on my shirt, and there's stuff on my shirt.
Oh, no. Oh, dear.
And now I'm completely disgusted. I go into this bathroom. I literally have to shower at the McDonald's sink, roll up the sleeves of my shirt all the way. And, of course, the rest of the ride home was completely uncomfortable, as, I couldn't wait to get home and shower and get the whole action in. But I look, and there's poopy a la doopy on my shirt sleeves, and
oh my god,
took a bath in the McDonald's bathroom, as best I could, and drove home. So
that's a beautiful story.
I yelled at my brother. I ended up was the one having major problems, and I had to squat on the side of the road, and then I ended up stopping at a McDonald's, and there's action on my clothes. So,
oh my god,
there's my bathroom.
And I know that Hancock McDonald's. It's no walk in the park going to the bathroom in that place.
No, not at all.
Oh boy,
not at all.
Notre Dame, Hancock McDonald's. Take your pick. Each are torturous.
Oh, I've had so many.
I know, but I've been with you on a couple of those. I remember. When we went, we used to go to that Atlantis nightclub in Fort Lauderdale at Beach Place, and
we liked that place.
There was that cover band that was there like every Friday or Saturday night or maybe both, and there was this beautiful girl that one of the singers who we would just give her the goo eyes and like. Yeah. But every 5 minutes, I would turn and look, and you'd be gone because and then I'd see you coming back from the bathroom. I'm like, "What the hell's going on?" You're like, "I don't know. I just gotta go to the bathroom," like all the time. And I remember she just took off her second layer there.
Yeah, I remember Bon Jovi, no less. We sat together, and I had to go, and you're texting me. They just opened with I forget, and you were like, "It's unbelievable," and I'm stuck on the toilet, and I'm like, oh my god, rushing to try to run out to catch this live concert. But Otis,
he just pulled Otis Redding on stage, and he's been dead for 20 years. I mean, amazing.
Exactly. So, well, speaking of music, song that makes us cry every time.
This is you.
I have a clip.
Okay, this is you. Let's see. I can't wait to hear this. Okay, Evan Moody. The song that makes you cry every time. Let's hear it.
Here we go.
Oh boy.
So my song is Warren Zevon, Keep Me in Your Heart. And I have a whole bunch of notes, but I'll just talk off the top of my head. So, Groo, this song came to me from one of my more favorite Adam Sandler movies, Funny People. Mm-hmm. I am not a huge Warren Zevon fan like everybody else. It's Werewolves of London and maybe Lawyers, Guns, and Money. But when I just, as I've said earlier, getting close to 50 and you start thinking about your mortality. Warren Zevon, I believe, had terminal cancer. I don't know what kind. And he's basically, this is a goodbye song to his friends and family. And it's really devastating. And I started researching. He was on with David Letterman and talked about his own journey, I guess, towards death. And it's that farewell goodbye to your friends and family, and it's just it's one of those things where it just really vibes with me. And so, Warren Zevon, Keep Me in Your Heart.
Wow, it's a great choice, an incredible song. I could tell you he was dying of terminal lung cancer, and I'm surprised. Yeah, you want to turn it. You could stop it now because our voices are draining it out. So, you there?
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right. So, at the time, this was the last song on his last album, which was called The Wind. The album was called The Wind.
Right.
And I remember he was on Letterman. Letterman devoted the entire hour to Warren Zevon. He played 2 songs. That wasn't one of them. He played Roland the Headless Thompson Gunner and a song called Mutineer. And if you hear that, if you look up that performance of Mutineer from David Letterman, that might be a tearjerker also. That's an older song of his. But I remember when this album came out, because I'm a pretty big Zevon fan. Not a diehard Zevon fan, but I know a lot of his stuff. And this album literally dropped on a Tuesday, and he was dead by Thursday. I think, but there was on that album. There's a duet with Springsteen on it, Tom Petty, Jackson Brown, basically like all his friends coming together for one final goodbye. And I do remember that scene from Funny People. But was that your first time hearing that song, or did you hear it?
Yes, I'm not a fan.
Wow.
I'm not a fan of a very superficial fan of Warren Zevon. I knew a small handful
Werewolves
of songs.
London and all, But Keep Me in Your Heart. Keep Me in Your Heart is that's.
The line where he says something about think of me when you see that crazy sun, and I always vision getting up in the morning and watching the sunrise, and that song usually gets me every time.
I like he sings sometimes when you're doing simple things around the house, maybe you'll think of me and smile.
Yeah.
I'm tied to you like the buttons on your blouse. Keep me in your heart for. Oh God, I'm getting chills thinking of that.
And
song.
so and these are things sometimes I even discuss with Marie, but that's my belief with death, which is I'm not a very religious person. I can't even say I'm very much a spiritual person, but I believe as even Billy wrote in Lullaby, which is another song that I think captures the same kind of message, which is we will live on in the hearts and minds of our friends and family. And that's what I choose to believe at this stage of my life.
Yeah,
so that's what I believe.
And that song pretty much represents all of those feelings. What a great, that's a great choice. See, my choice, yours definitely packs the emotional wallop as far as that. Mine, well, I'm interested to what you hear, so to what you have to say, so why don't I just play it? The song that really gets to me every time is this one.
Let me get my tissue.
So what do you think? You're looking at me like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's not a tearjerker for me. It's a romantic song. It's definitely about relationship, but brings a tear to my eye. No, actually, it's a pretty strong melody song too. It's, I guess, when you think of tearjerkers, you think of real soft. It doesn't have to be, because my number 2 choice was "Lick It Up" by Kiss. But notwithstanding, it's a great song, and I agree with you. It's probably one of, if not Phil's best pop composition. But all right, let me hear you make your case for it, brother.
Well, to me, this song, it's just like, it makes me think of everybody, who has been a part of my life, who has left my life by choice, not by force, and me wondering why. Like how could they leave my life when I'm with, like, take a look at me, like I'm right here. I'm not a bad person. I'm a good person. How can you just, literally the words in the song, how can you just walk away from me when all I can do is watch you leave? So it's not, to me, it's not a romantic thing. I think of girls and guys with this, it's really not like that. It's like losing people. And that's what this is about to me. And I think of people that I've lost for reasons that I still don't understand. And that's what this song brings back. Like, I guess I wasn't good enough. I wasn't smart enough, and doggone it, they didn't like me. To quote Stuart Smalley there, but that's what this song does for me. It makes me think of people, a lot of people who I really, really still love in a lot of ways, who I will probably never see again, for things that I guess that I did or didn't do that I wasn't aware that I did or didn't do. And this song kind of brings all that back, and it gets to me pretty much every time. And
yeah, actually, on the it gets to me in another sense. On the drum break, I want to probably punch somebody and throw them through a glass table. But
it's not in the air tonight.
Hey, that's the wonderful thing about music. It affects people in different ways.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you had come out and said that was your favorite Phil Collins song.
I did.
On the Phil, which that was surprising to me too. I think it's a good one, but I'm not going to get into another Phil Collins debate. But I guess this song really hit you and means a lot. Well,
see, we both look at our respective songs. "Keep Me in Your Heart," you're sort of looking towards the future with skepticism. And with "Against All Odds,"
no, I don't think it's a skeptical song at all.
No, maybe skepticism is the wrong word. Uncertainty, maybe, just like
I think
worrying.
The song actually, well, I think the message of the song is very, very hopeful, and I mean, it's not a wonderful topic, but again, it's the hope that when I'm gone, and I'm going to be gone, that you're going to keep me in your heart and your mind, and that's how I'm going to live on. While you're doing housework. While you're up in the morning on that morning walk and you see the sunlight come down, keep me in your heart.
So do you put yourself in Zevon's
Absolutely.
words.
I think that's all good.
Yeah.
I think all good music and film, you get that experience. So I think about that's probably, when I go, that's the same message I'd want to give to my family and friends. Hey, I hope you think about me every once in a while, and it's a good thought.
Yeah, and see, this Against All Odds to me is about regret and a point of no return, and having to live with that. Whether you like it or not, they're gone and they ain't coming back, and you can either lament about it or you can move forward. And sometimes it's easy, to move forward, and sometimes it's not. There are people who I haven't seen in 25 years who I still wonder about, and that song brings that up. So I don't play that song very often, but there are times when I get in moods that I need to hear it. But yeah, it's. But I think we got. I was surprised and thrilled by your pick. Keep Me in Your Heart.
Hold on, let me get the shotgun out of my mouth, Groo. Hold on.
Wait, Evan, wait. Why'd you do that?
All right. Well,
I like that one though. I mean, Keep Me in Your Heart that's definitely my favorite song from that album, and it's a really good album. It's a really good album.
I will I always follow up on your so I will listen to The Mutineer.
No, it's called The Wind.
No.
Mutineer. The Mutineer. Song. Yeah, that you could just the album track of Mutineer is from the album Mutineer, and it's great. But the performance on Letterman is kind of a more stripped down version of the song, and that rips your heart out, knowing what you know, that the guy's dying.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful song.
Real quick, I just want to, and nothing to do with said, but my favorite television performance of all time. I love E Street Shuffle with Jimmy Fallon. Before it was Bruce when he did it on Late Night. I'm just giving a quick shout.
That's actually great. Mine is Bruce also, but it'll surprise you. Mine is the last Letterman when he did Glory Days.
That was great too.
That's one of my favorites.
I was younger, and I was a fan, but not hardcore like I am today. And I remember watching that, going, "That was really awesome."
I'm just going to share a very quick story with you. That was actually on my. That was the night after my prom, and we were all out in Montauk, and I was with a girl in our hotel room. We were, getting ready to do the things that young prom people do, and I literally cut it when I saw him announce Springsteen on TV. I'm like, all right, stop, wait, we got to watch. And she's like, what the hell are you talking about? She's like, she's sitting there half naked waiting for me, and I'm like, it's Bruce. She's like, Bruce who? I was the only Springsteen fan.
Funny enough, that was number 3 on your personal decision you regret the most.
No, because I still got laid that night.
It's a joke.
I still got laid that night. But my heart wasn't in it. My heart was in the Letterman studio, I have to say.
Hey, listen. Bottom line here, you got Warren Zevon and Phil Collins, and you can't go wrong either way. So that's good choices. So, Andrew, let's get to it. We're in our final 2. It's time to reveal our celebrity crushes. Do you want me to go first? I have a clip, or do you want to go first and then I'll go?
Yeah, well, I just went, so you start this one. So
right, I like
So we're gonna see both of them at the same time, or
no? Yeah. I'll give you. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're about to hear who is Evan Moody's personal female and male crushes.
Here's my female crush, Groo. Oh, yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Come on, it's boss time.
And it's featuring Snoop Dogg. So is he your male crush?
No. Hell no.
Sasha Banks.
Well, listen, I am a fan of Sasha Banks. I think she's. Listen, I have my heart is with one young lady, and that's Marie. But Sasha Banks, the boss character, I think she's fit, great physique, great body, great look, confident. If it was not for Sasha Groo, I'll give you one other one.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of this young lady as well. Come on.
Rita Ora.
Come on. Yeah.
Is that her real hair?
It looks like it. It
She's
doesn't look
beautiful.
fake.
I don't even know her, but I love her.
I only know this one song. This is the one song I have on my phone. I saw her on, I think, like New York Post. What are they? Is that page 6? What the
page 6. That was the celebrity gossip page. Yeah.
So, those,
beautiful.
Rita was on there, and there was a bikini shot, and I'm like, I got to look her up. I knew she was a musician. I don't know too much of her music, but female-wise, anything Sasha Banks, I will never complain, and I will always look to see. And Rita Ora, male crushes is a little bit different because obviously when you talk about a crush, it's almost like romantic or sexual tension, so to speak.
Well, I actually did think about this.
All right. Well, so here's what I would say. I mean, there are a couple of guys that I admire and I follow. In a sense, like I would say, off the top, I don't really have a crushes per se, but like Triple H is a guy that I follow because he's my age. He's still in pretty great shape. So he's successful in business. So I like to read about stuff that even beyond wrestling. Joe Rogan's another guy who's older and still really into physical fitness. He's got a podcast. I'm more into podcasting now. So he's a guy I like to read about. Even like somebody like, I wouldn't call him a crush, but like Tom Cruise is in his 50s. He's still in great shape. I don't really have, in terms of crush. I mean, obviously I'm fans of guys like Bruce and stuff like that. I don't know if crushes. That one was a little bit harder. But definitely if the television on is Sasha Banks is on there. Again, Rita Ora, I don't really follow her music, but she's awfully cute to look at. So I don't know if these were even interesting picks, but
no, they certainly are. No, they absolutely are interesting picks. I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to do the man crush first.
I'm biting my nails.
Well, because I want to explain my criteria.
Oh no!
My criteria for man crush is not a romantic thing because that would make me something that I'm not. Not that there's anything wrong with it. There isn't. But the way I look at a man crush is somebody, like you say, somebody you admire, somebody who you feel like you identify with, but most of all, it's somebody who you'd want to hang out with, somebody you'd want to be friends with, somebody you'd want to roll with. Somebody you'd want to be like as part of your circle of close friends. And for me, this goes back to when I was 9 or 10 years old, and it's still today. And
can I give a guess?
Please.
I don't know why this came to my mind. I'm going to go with Andrew Dice Clay.
No. Although that's not a bad one, but the reason that Dice is not, because Dice doesn't seem, even though I think he is in real life, he doesn't seem like a nice guy.
Okay.
The person who I've chosen seems like a really nice guy who doesn't have a mean bone in his body. And his name, you will know him very well, is Ralph Macchio. He has been like my celebrity buddy since I saw The Outsiders. And there are a few reasons. Number one, we grew up in the same town, even though he's like, I think he's like 15 years older than me. So I'm watching The Outsiders, and they say, yeah, he went to this high school. He went to the high school down the street, and he did this, he did, So I already felt like, oh, a famous guy who was like right here and like part of our neighborhood and all that stuff, and then the Karate Kid, and then so over the years he's been like my my buddy. Like I feel like he's my buddy. Some people would call that stalking, but that's the way I define that. So yeah, Macchio would be definitely the because him I would love to just like sit down at a bar and just have a beer with him and just like bullshit. That's that's how I look at that.
Do you want to use this time to send a sweet message of love to Ralph right now?
No, actually, I did send him one thing one time. and he got in touch. Wait, you're going to love this. Okay, I did try to get in touch with him one time, and it was about 6 or 7 years ago. And his somebody representing him got back to me. I invited him to the annual benefit because he's a Springsteen fan. To the Mark Zeppelin.
You know what you should
benefit.
do? You should invite him to come on the show and let us interview him. That's what you should be doing.
Okay. Well, now we'll think about it.
Never promotes the show.
Well,
that's not true. But anyway,
but yeah, I did. But
Ralph Macchio.
I did invite him to the thing. I sent him one of the flyers, and he didn't get back to me, but one of his people did. So that was I don't know. Anyway, probably it sounds weirder than it is, but I think you understand what I'm
we could have done shots of Fireball with Ralph Macchio.
Damn right. And my female celebrity crush, this one was easy. He's licking his lips. This one was easy. Now, remember I asked you a question, and you said whatever your qualifications are. So so I'll tell you who it is, and then why I asked the question. My female crush by far is Kaylee Cuoco. She is what? She's beautiful.
Go ahead.
Why? What's the matter?
It's like every girl we grew up with, Kaylee Cuoco. Oh, God.
We didn't grow up with her. She's like 20 years younger than us.
You know what I mean. But listen, that's what people find beauty. Go ahead, make your case.
Kaylee Cuoco, I just think she's the total package. She's funny. She's beautiful, but she's got a great personality. She's just incredible to me, and I did go on 2 dates with her years ago. That's why I asked you if it still qualifies as a crush.
He loves putting himself over.
Yes, I do love going into business for myself. But
do you want to reveal any physicality on the dates with Kaylee Cuoco?
I'm not gonna. All right. Yes, there was on the second one. Yeah, there was. There was. That's as far as I'll go with that. But she, and oddly enough, it was me who kind of cut it off. Because I think it was something. She was amazing. She really liked me. But she was on the show 8 Simple Rules at the time. I was living in California, and a friend of mine used to get me tickets to go see the taping of that show every week. So I'd go, and that's how we met. Because I'd go to like the party afterwards, and so that's how we met. That was when I first moved out to LA, and we just hit it off. But I felt intimidated by the whole celebrity thing, and I didn't feel comfortable with the whole thing. I don't know. Looking back, I want to shoot myself, but because I probably wouldn't be struggling to pay rent right now if I had stuck with her. But she's earning like hundreds of millions of dollars on royalties. But it's not about money. She's a beautiful, wonderful girl. I adored her then. I adore her now. But I haven't seen her in, I guess, close to 20 years. So she remains a celebrity crush.
What could have been Andrew Cuoco?
You would love her, though. You would love her. You would love her. You know what? You would love her. You would love her for me. Like, you know what I mean? You would be like, if you met her. No, I'm telling you, if you met her.
This is the heights of narcissism.
No,
you would love her for me.
No, what I'm saying is
that's like me saying.
That's like me. Me talking about Marie and saying she is so perfect for you. You guys are incredible together. You would think that.
But Marie is a typical citizen of the United. Kaylee Cuoco is a.
But at the end of the day, celebrity. We're all people.
Oh please!
No, but I'm saying if you had met her and if you had spoken to her and gotten to know her a little bit, you would love the fact that she and I were together because you would see how compatible we were because you know me pretty much better than anybody else, and you would see that it would have worked if I'd have. But like everything else, I quit. Oh God, what did I do? Why'd you let me do this to myself? Kaylee, if you're out there,
Andrew,
if you're out there, I hope you're happy, and I look upon our time together as I look upon it very fondly. Speaking of fondling,
I think for me, Andrew, Reese Witherspoon really would have been perfect for me.
Reese was my second choice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was only kidding there.
That's interesting that you say that. That was because if you didn't accept my first choice because I'd been on a date with her.
What do you mean accept?
Well, no. There are certain. There's
your
certain
category.
It's ours. These belong to us. Right. We don't own these things.
All right. Let's move on to
what do you think? What do you think about? I mean, what do you think about it?
Kaylee Cuoco.
Both of them, Macchio and Kaylee.
And Reese Witherspoon. I like Kaylee. She was in The Big Bang Theory and The Wedding Ringer. It's fine, but she's very that stereotypical blonde. Out of my league kind of presence on film and television. Reese, I like the work Reese has done, and I think she's cute. Listen, who am I? I have no problem with either one. Clearly, I go for the more outrageous, younger side. But hey,
well, Kaylee is
what makes
we're pushing 50. Kaylee is pushing 30.
Okay, great.
That's
well,
hot.
Good for Kaylee. We'll do a Kaylee Cuoco podcast in 2020.
Hey, if I could get her to come on the podcast, you would drool at that, and you know it.
Yes, I'd like to hear all of the juicy details and the big date.
Details, yes.
I hope your credit card worked on that date.
She paid.
All right. Oh, my God. All right, Groo, it's the big one. It's the final personal reveal. I think you're up. The floor of mine. I got butterflies in my stomach. Andrew?
Yeah.
Your personal revelation. The floor is yours.
This is a biggie. So my personal revelation is that I came within one day of asking a girl to marry me. And at the last minute, I said, this is probably the dumbest fucking thing you'll ever do in your life, so don't do it. And I didn't do it. But the girl still has no idea that I was about to do it. But you know her. I think you'd remember her.
Don't say her name.
I won't say her name. But this was all at camp when you yes, you were still there. Yep, it would have been at camp. I was, and I still do have a thing for this girl, but she's long gone. I mean, she's alive, but yes, she's. I think when you get blocked on the fourth social media platform by her, I think that's a sign.
I think that would be a slight problem. I don't want to say that there's a problem there, but wow.
This is. But I would call. I honestly, at this point, I would call her the love of my life. She just had me hook, line, and sinker, and I almost did it. But usually it's somebody else who talks me out of stupid things. This was the one time where I actually talked myself out of it, and smartly so. But that
this is not even a personal. That's not even a personal revelation. What? That's a scary revelation.
Yeah, well, I mean that's something that I never told anybody. Now everybody fucking knows. But no, I've never actually told a living soul that almost happened.
All right.
But it did. It was I think it was the summer of 2000.
All right, we don't have to listen, please. We don't have to get into specific details. This guy is
what?
Just give her a name. You want to ask her to marry you right now?
No, I'm not going to. Look, number one, there's no way she's listening to this. Number two, if she was, she would.
I spoke to Andy several times and said, let's not go over names.
I didn't say a name, did I?
Going down a reveal. Let me know. No, I'm fine. I'm not going to. Summer of 2001. Her initials
No,
type was O positive.
No, her blood type is AB positive.
I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you off the air about this because I got to knock some sense into you.
Well, wait a minute. Because I would love it if you were able to guess, but
I don't. I have a feeling I'm not going to say it on the air. I don't want to say it.
I don't want you to. I'm trying to give you clues.
But I have a feeling, if I'm going to be really honest, and you can edit this out, I don't think the feeling was quite the same level intense mutual.
It was 100% not. That's why I didn't do it.
Okay, so how did you get to a point where in your mind you were going to ask someone for the ultimate commitment marriage when the feelings clearly, I'm sorry, were not reflected back?
Being young and really, really stupid. And thinking, thinking that I'll give you an even more honest answer, and maybe you'll agree with me. Thinking that my feelings for her was enough. Like if I no. We know that it's not. We know that that's not true. But I would think you'd be able to understand how one could feel that way. Like, I love you so much. How can that not matter? No, the other person has to love you back. And you loving them is not going to automatically make them love you. That's something I did not understand at that age. But I was 25 years old, which actually by then I should have known. But,
yeah, well, let me just tell you one other thing. You've ruined Against All Odds for me. I will never listen to it the same. It's now become a creepy stalker. How dare you eject me? I mean, how dare you?
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, what I would say is I have a couple of times in my life said, I'm going to do something big that's going to fix all the problems, and it's like it fixes it for a week, for 5 days.
Yeah.
You know, I'll buy her this. I'll get a puppy. It doesn't help.
This was me thinking that I was actually, number one, that I wasn't even taking her feelings into consideration. That was me being stupid and selfish. And number two, for me to even think that I was even close to being ready for that kind of thing, I didn't even have a freaking job. I mean, I was a camp counselor, for God's sake. You know, that was my home. I lived my whole life. I was still in school.
Do you get health benefits with that?
Thank God. No, I was still on my parents' health care. I was still on my parents' health insurance. Oh my God! Now you're getting me to think about, like, oh my God! God forbid I would have done that, and God forbid even more she would have said yes.
Well,
no, but she would have had me arrested. I'm sure.
Definitely had definitely made some mistakes there. So
I didn't make the mistake. I didn't do it.
Yeah, but the fact that you even thought, well, I got to talk to him off the air.
All right, well, now we're switching it over to you.
If somebody's listening right now, help me. Okay.
All right, are you ready for yours?
Yeah, this is a big one because you may be aware of it, but I've definitely never publicly acknowledged it.
All right.
So I will say it, and hopefully you'll be nice about it because it's a tough one to publicly say. But if I'm going to be honest and give a good broadcast, I got to reveal. And so there was something about myself growing up that I didn't like. And when I became a teacher and made a few bucks, I went and had, this is going to be killer. Woo! Well, I had my ears pinned back. I had plastic surgery, and my ears stuck out when I was a kid. And I was very sensitive about it. I mean, I got teased a little bit here and there. Not much. And I was probably in my mid to late 20s. And I was teaching and got on health insurance and made a few bucks. And I got it done. And was very happy with the results. And never looked back. I remember I had the surgery, and then I was living in my first apartment in South Florida in Coconut Creek, and I threw up all over the stairwell on the way back to my apartment, all bandaged up on my head and wraps, and we called it the Moody spot on the stairs. Just threw up and left a stain on the stairwell, and I mean, it was something I didn't like about myself, and got it changed, and did not regret that in the least. I'm very glad to have it done, and my dad, my mom were supportive, and I don't like to think I'm a vain person, but I didn't like that about myself, and that's what I did.
Well, that was very brave, Evan. It was very brave for you to admit
stop
that.
it.
I don't.
I love how you give these and I don't sit there and goof on you. I mean, at least not when you're talking anyway.
Well, the only reason I'm goofing on you is because I don't see how you see that as you presented it to me as if you were going to tell me something that was going to make me question your character. Like that's absolutely something that if I didn't have money to fix some things about myself, I wouldn't do that. I think we all would. That nothing to be ashamed of or embarrassed about. Like you were really. I don't see the big. It's definitely a big deal to do something physically to yourself, but to me it's no different than getting a tattoo. I
agree.
It's so it's nothing. I was expecting to be like, oh my God. I was expecting to be like, oh, I had my penis lengthened. Like that. No, I was expecting something real. I think that's something that I'm glad you did. If it's something that you've earned the right to do whatever it is you need to do, there's no reason to think that anyone would think any less of you for doing that.
Well, it's funny because it came up because this is another reveal, but like Marie, sometimes she'll go, get over here, you got all these hairs in your ears, and she'll like pluck them out, and I'm like, she's like, I barely touched your ears. And then I finally had to say to her, look, when I was younger, and she was because she's in the aesthetic business anyway, she was like, oh my God, that's so great, I'm so happy you did that. I'm like, I'm going to go sulk in the bedroom now.
No, I think it's well, I think you're a little. I mean, from my perspective, I think you're a little oversensitive to that.
Okay,
but that's from my perspective.
I will share with you.
I've never been in this situation.
And an old friend of ours who passed, who lived in Florida, who went to Camp Wayne. Mm-hmm. I was up there in Orlando visiting with him, and I said, I'm going to do this. And he went, Moody, don't you dare. I'll kill you if you change, because his thing was, hey,
you're perfect the way you are, yeah.
Just the way you are.
I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about, and you're absolutely right.
Yeah. I went ahead and did it, and I mean, listen, it's just tough to publicly reveal, and that's what I did. Well,
I'm glad you did, and I think we've both been very, very honest and open in this last couple hours here, and I feel like an enormous weight has been lifted off of my broad shoulders.
Yes, I want to say that next week Moody's going to announce I'm converting to Muslim, and Groo is going to go through gender assignment surgery. That'll be next
Jesus
week.
Christ.
No? I missed the mark on that joke? Oh, okay, sure.
No,
all right.
it's like, oh my God. No,
Andy,
no.
We just personal reveals. Did we learn anything today? Did we learn anything? I don't know.
I mean, I can't say that I was surprised from anything that you said, because I know you very well, and you've always been very transparent with me.
Yes, that's true.
I have not been as transparent with you as you've been with me.
How dare you?
But I could say the same thing for everybody. I am not. I don't make a habit out of saying personal stuff, or at least I try not to. But it's not something that I do consciously. It's just not. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, but I wasn't surprised about anything. I was pleasantly surprised about this last one. I'm glad you do things that you want to do, that you feel you need to do. whether I think or whether our old friend thinks that you should or not. It's honestly none of
no. People meant well. It was
right.
Like,
no,
hey,
of course, but in the end, it doesn't matter what we think. It matters what you think, and it matters more to us what you think than what we think. So, but everything else, like I was like, that's right up his alley, and I think that's cool. I like that.
I think if I've learned anything, it's I'm a little bit more fearful of you. And,
based on which one in particular?
I have my gun upstairs. I'm just going to have it on the table while we do our podcast, just in case. I know you're on the other coast, but no, it was good. I enjoyed. This is really the basis of our podcast, which is I just enjoy talking to Andy and stories, whether it's about the things we love or just personal stuff. It seems to be an easy flowing conversation, and I'll never look at Kaylee Cuoco again the same.
Do you watch The Big Bang Theory?
I'm taking The Big Bang Theory off my queue on the TNT streaming service.
Have you ever really watched it, or just fleeting?
Yeah, I watched Big Bang Theory. I enjoy the show.
She's beyond a 10.
But here's the thing: if you want to, real quick, because I want to wrap up and promote next week's show. Yeah. But if you do. That role, there's nothing unique about that role. Now, you tell me the other characters, the nerdy guys, there's some uniqueness to that. Playing I guess the way I would see it is she's perceived as being a dumb blonde, but she's not, but she's clearly not on the same ilk as the academians. I don't think there's anything special about that role. Any actress, maybe I'm wrong, it could be served by any actress, whereas the other parts seem to be specifically well done by those actors.
Okay, well, I'll tell you briefly. When I knew her, she was on that other show. She absolutely played the dumb blonde and was dumb in the show.
That even the Wedding Ringer was kind of the same thing, a shallow blonde, shallow.
But here's the thing about now. I'm a big fan of The Big Bang Theory. I've seen most of the episodes. Her character comes across as a dumb blonde, but in a lot of ways she's really a lot smarter than everybody else as far as street smarts, and she puts them in their place, and that's what she's like in real life. That's why I liked her so much. She's just like that. She doesn't have a mean bone in her body, and she loves everybody on that show, and that's the closest thing I've seen as far as her work to the real Kaylee. At least the one that I knew very briefly. That's who I see when I watch that show.
All right. Well, listen. Let's not make this.
And when I watch The Karate Kid, I remember you would laugh because when somebody told me the first time I found out that the Karate Kid went to our high school, I was like, oh my God, he's going to be my best friend now! Woo! I was so fucking starstruck, and that's where that came from.
It's sad. It's really sad.
What's sad about it?
Hey,
ask my brother. Ask my brother about his feelings for Leonardo DiCaprio one time. You'll be scared. You'll be scared of him.
His feelings about Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay?
You'll be frightened of him.
So, all right. Well, that's it for personal revelations. Let's promo next week's show. It's a wrestling show.
Nice.
There's our promo for next week's show.
That's it.
After I just admitted to Andrew, I barely watch wrestling anymore. These days. So, but we will. We have a couple of topics on the queue. We'll debate off air, and we'll get something.
We might even
put you guys.
We might even put a poll up on our page.
Yeah. Well, let's save it. Save it. But next week we will return back to one of our original true loves, professional wrestling. Andrew, you want to take us out?
Yes, we have come a long way in the last couple hours. We've been to hell and back with each other, as we always do. We now know everything there is to know, mostly, probably not, but either way, we have learned a lot today. And I look forward to learning even more next week, because each week is really a growth week that we do this. Yes. We really do grow in every way possible.
We're going to turn into like two sniveling millennials. We'll end up crying, and next week I'm going to reveal I have lupus and I have only 4 days to live.
Well, Then
Okay,
then you will not want to miss. Then you will not want to miss next week's show.
Yes, it's going to be a very special Nothing Worthwhile.
So until then, until Moody's big lupus reveal, we'll see you next time. And until then, 1, 2, 3, rip 'em.
Rip 'em. Whack, whack. Kaylee Cuoco.